Imagine a time when baseball was new to Korea and the odds were stacked sky high and victory seemed impossible. Now, add humor, horror, and relentless determination. That's exactly why I, Prajval Manivannan, chose to review YMCA Baseball Team, a film that turns history into an inspiring underdog triumph. And so let's talk about the director of YMCA Baseball Team himself, Kim Hyun-suk. Kim Hyun-suk is a prominent figure in South Korean cinema, known for his work as a director, screenwriter, and occasional producer. For YMCA Baseball Team, he served as both a director and screenwriter, earning the Best New Director award. The film clearly reflects his skill in portraying Korea's first baseball team as a symbol of resistance against the expanding influence of the Japanese Empire. And so, let's get more into his film, YMCA Baseball Team. YMCA Baseball Team. The release date for this film was October 2nd, 2002. The runtime for this film is about an hour and 44 minutes, and the genres that this film takes on are comedy, drama, history, and sports. And so now, let's get into the cast of YMCA Baseball Team. And so, starting at first base, we have Lee Ho-chang, who's played by Song Kang-ho. And so Ho-chang is someone who starts off his baseball journey having never heard of this sport because he comes from a scholarly background. This is referred to as a peasant sport. Afterwards, he then joins the YMCA baseball team and learns the sport of baseball, finding himself to be the YMCA team's best batter. Up next, we have Min Jung-rim, who's played by Kim Hae-soo. Jung-rim finds herself as the coach of the YMCA baseball team in Korea, having studied in America and being exposed to the sport of baseball there. Jung-rim is Ho-chang's love interest throughout this film, but she does not share the same feelings. She is also the daughter of Diplomat Min, a high-ranking Korean official. She later joins a group called the Anti-Ulsa League, who opposed the Ulsa Treaty signed during the events of the film. Now we have Oh Dae-hyun, who is played by the late Kim Jo-hyuk. Oh Dae-hyun studied in Japan and gained experience with baseball there, and he also joins the Anti-Ulsa League. And now on to Ryo Kwang-tae, who is played by Hwang Jung-min, and he finds himself on the YMCA baseball team accompanying his friend Ho-chang, and his father is a pro-Japanese politician. And now we have Ho-chang's father, a scholar who teaches in Seoul. He wants Ho-chang to take over his school, although Ho-chang has other ambitions throughout the film. And last but not least, we have Hideo Nomura, who played baseball against Oh Dae-hyun and lost. He is currently a military officer, and he is a strong batter for the Japanese baseball team and their captain against the YMCA baseball team in Korea. And now we will discuss the synopsis of the film YMCA Baseball Team. And so, starting out the film, we have the main character Ho-chang, and he finds himself kicking a ball around when he accidentally kicks it to an unknown house. Ho-chang climbs over the fence of this house belonging to a Christian missionary, where he finds a baseball, claiming that his own soccer ball shrank through his unfamiliarity with this ball. He meets a Christian missionary living there, who hands him his soccer ball back, and Ho-chang hands him his baseball back, as we see here in the second picture, but he is asked to throw this ball back instead of kicking it, introducing him to baseball and stoking his curiosity of the sport from here on out. And so Ho-chang then makes an excuse to see more baseball by purposefully kicking his soccer ball into the missionary's house, beating Jung-rim for the first time, where she plays a mock round of baseball with him, where he bats for the first time. Despite his scholarly background, through him saying and insisting that he is a scholar, Ho-chang is very intrigued by Jung-rim's offer to seriously play baseball, inviting him to join the Seoul YMCA baseball team, where he can do so, representing Korea through being in the first baseball team in Korean history. More and more people are intrigued by seeing a player's wanted sign to join the Seoul YMCA baseball team, as we see here. As I mentioned earlier, Ho-chang comes from a scholarly background, and his father wants him to succeed him in teaching at the school, as seen by his request to Ho-chang here for him to do so. Nevertheless, he finds himself joining the YMCA baseball team with everyone else who saw the flyer for players to join the team, as they learn the basics of the sport of baseball, such as how to catch and the rules of the game. Now, as we see here, given that these people have never played or even seen baseball in their lives before, their first attempt in playing ends up to the disappointment of Jungrim and the missionaries. However, they debut playing baseball against other local teams and manage to win every single game, as noted by this newspaper publishing their winning streak. And now at this point in the film, we see that Korea has given up its diplomatic sovereignty through the Ulster Treaty, making it a protectorate state under Japan. Jungrim's father, Diplomat Min, he kills himself to protest this treaty as he finds it traitorous to the country that 5 Korean ministers would actually sign this document. The YMCA baseball team, emerging from their victorious streak, comforts Jungrim as she grieves her father's death, and Ho Chang, he arrives there in his love for Jungrim, not because of her father's death, but because he was bringing a love letter, which is misinterpreted hilariously as Min's dying words. Diplomat Min, Jungrim's father, is actually a reference to Min Yong-hwan, a minister who killed himself in protest of the Ulster Treaty. Afterwards, the YMCA baseball team meets again to practice, where they meet Oh Dae-hyun for the first time and see how good his pitching is. After practice, Kwang Tae comes back home and he finds a masked man, who's actually Oh Dae-hyun, trying to kill his father, the pro-Japanese minister, but is unsuccessful with the gunshots coming through the window and leaves. After Kwang Tae and his father survive, the YMCA baseball team go to practice and they find Japanese soldiers stationing themselves in their practice area. They get into a fight with them, and then we see Hideo, one of Oh Dae-hyun's former baseball rivals, who is Japanese, recognize him and say that they should have a baseball game together. The film immediately cuts to this, and we see the Korean team ending up performing very badly against Hideo's Japanese team, as we can see by the scoreboard showing 0-8. So Ho Chang's father, after their loss, finds Ho Chang with the YMCA baseball team and yells at him in frustration for abandoning his teaching duties. During the next YMCA baseball team practice, we see Japanese soldiers try to capture Oh Dae-hyun, but they fail to do so because he runs away. So we learn that Oh Dae-hyun and Jungrim are members of the Anti-Ulster League, an organization that's formed in protest of the 5 Ulster traitors, these 5 ministers who signed the Ulster Treaty, and are up for arrest. Seeing that their coach and star pitcher are gone, the YMCA baseball team suspends their activity. Ho Chang, learning of this, decides to take over the school. At the same time, the pro-Japanese minister, Kwang Tae's father, and a Japanese government official, Hideo's father, arrive at the conclusion to host a Korean versus Japanese baseball game to attract these 2 anti-Ulster people for arrest. And so Kwang Tae, following this plan, recruits the YMCA members back, spreading news of this game, and Ho Chang reads this and decides to come back as the YMCA team's batter. Their plan works, and the 2 on the run are surrounded for arrest. So Hideo decides to grant Oh Dae-hyun a rematch, and both teams get an even score until Hideo gets ready to bat. Hideo performs very well, and the YMCA team loses hope until Ho Chang arrives and hits a home run. Kwang Tae then tells Oh Dae-hyun to leave as he's going to bunt, but Oh Dae-hyun refuses and helps to win the game. The Japanese fail to capture the 2, and we see how this Korean team inspires future baseball players in Korea through this frame right here. So let's talk about the historical background mentioned in this film. So let's talk about the Ulster Treaty. This was brought up many times during the film, and so in 1905, this signed away Korea's diplomatic sovereignty without Emperor Gojong's approval. Korea had to leave any and all foreign affairs to Japan. The 5 ministers who did sign this did so under duress and were branded with the name the 5 Ulster traitors. There was no official anti-Ulster group, but there was various Korean resistance organizations that directly formed because of this to protest this, such as the Righteous Armies. Throughout this film, we see Korea in an age where the country is modernizing. Class discrimination was abolished through the Kabo reform in 1894 in Chosun, but the stigma was still prevalent. We see a story of the stigma being broken between a former master, and a servant when they see each other as equals on the baseball field after the former master refused to catch his toss, as seen here. Overall, YMCA and Japanese influence challenged traditional Chosun values, shaping the future culture. And now what I myself learned from this film. From this film, I realized the incredible power of sports. It brings people together, regardless of past history of oppression, such as in the class system, towards a common goal, victory. For the people of Chosun, it gives people hope in the face of oppressive struggle. It's a bloodless alternative to other approaches to freedom in Korean history, but it still shows resilience and resistance. In conclusion, I give this film a 5 out of 5 stars. It's a very good film and highly recommend it for anyone to watch. Please find my references here. And thank you so much for watching.